there, this is Pam Vinny with Pam's Paper Place, and I'm continuing with the Farmhouse journal. This will be part 2. And what I have, I've already cut these pieces for the cover and spine. Now I made a template. And how I made a template, because we're going to put the book cover spine together, I measured 9.5 down by 4 inches. No, actually 2.5. I'm sorry. 9.5 down by 2.5. That's our spine. So, and to make a template, then I folded it in half, and then I folded it this way. Then I folded it in to the center on both sides, like this. And then I measured 1 inch in, and you got your 3 folds. So I got 1 inch in, it's got 3 signatures. And then this is where I folded it in half. And I marked along those folds, and then I did 1 inch in, and then I marked that. So as you can see, we have 3 signatures. And then because our papers are 9 inches and this spine is 9.5, I just went in 1/4 of an inch. I colored that, and you'll see why. I just, marked that 1/4 inch. Okay, so that's our template, and if you wanted to, you could also, if you're going to use this a couple times, you can put some clear packing tape on it to make it more substantial. You could still see through it and use it over and over. So we have that template made, and then we're going to take our pieces. We have our Tyvek, and I just folded it in half to have a middle point, and then on the 2.5 by 9.5, I put a little halfway mark there, so you could kind of line that up when we're going to glue this. So we will glue this now to our Tyvek. Excuse me, and I bought some new Fabri-Tac, so hopefully it's going to work. Okay, now I just got it all over here. It's working a little too good, isn't it? It's a full bottle. Okay, so I'm going to, wow, that's a lot of Fabri-Tac. I think I'm going to smear it with just a little piece of cardboard I had, because it's, boy, really came out, didn't it? See if I can. Yeah, it's coming out pretty thick. Let's take a little piece of cardboard to smear it on. I like to work with a glass mat because you can clean it up easy. Okay, and then where I have that little mark, halfway mark, I'm going to line that up with this halfway mark where I folded the Tyvek. I've been drinking a lot of coffee, so I might be a little shaky here. Oops. And that looks about middle. Then we're going to just put that down there. So I hope you will follow along with me in this Farmhouse journal tutorial. And I do, like I said, I do have one ephemera type paper kit left. Okay, then we have these pieces that we cut, and we're going to attach them here with just a little space in between. Wow, that is coming out too much. I must have cut that hole too big. So Kind of messy. Got my new glue here. You could probably use some other type of glue too. And then I'm going to take my 9.5 by 6.5 with just a tiny little gap there. Add our other piece. With a tiny little gap. And I messed up my nails already with Fabri-Tac, so that's why I don't do my nails a lot, because they do get ruined with gardening and, you know, gluing. That's okay. I don't have to be glamorous anymore. Okay, so we have that. And next, we will let that dry somewhat. And then from your pack, if you got one of the Farmhouse Farmer packs, there was a little packet like this, and it had, some of the kits had 2 squares like this, and then some of the pack had quilted pieces like this. So I'll kind of show you on both. And what I did was, with this quilted type piece, because it's a little bit bigger, and we'll be adding to the spine this thick, like ticking. And it's not quite wide enough, but that's okay, because we're going to have our ticking that will go over. And if it still doesn't meet, you can always put, you know, work rack or something over, because it'll probably just go over. So, and then because this is bigger, I just, you want it to be about 9.5. I just kind of paper clipped here, and then I'm going to sew. This is cut, so I'm just going to sew down here, sew across here, sew here, and then that will be glued on. And then I'll do that with the other piece. And then also, if you have this pack with this style, it's smaller, but I'm thinking you can always make something work, right? Thinking what I will do is I'm going to cut it. Let's see, what was I going to do? Oh yeah, I know. I'm going to cut it in half, because we're going to put a snippet roll piece here, so it doesn't matter if it's cut. So just cut this here. Don't be afraid, you can always fix something. It's not supposed to be perfect. If you want perfect, you'd buy a store-bought one, and that is boring, right? It is. Because perfect is not what we can't be, and it's not that fun anyway. Okay, so then we'll have this, and then we're going to have our snippet roll, so that doesn't matter. This will all be covered here. Okay, and then we can cut this down too. I might have that hang over the edge a little bit there, the binding. And so I'm going to cut it a bit to fit, like that. Okay, so that's going to be, this needs to be sewn too, I think. So I'm going to go over to my machine, sew along the edge here and here and here, any open edges. And then I'm also going to, sew, and I'll do that to both of these, just like I did the other one. And then I kind of marked that. So I'm gonna just sew that along here and here, and then I'll come back and cut it. Okay, now I have sewn around. I left some space here because it's kind of big. And, look at your, this was 4 inches. So I think what I'm going to do is just leave a little bit off the edge here to add lace or ruffle because it's smaller. So, and if you have a different fabric you want to use, if you don't want to mess around with all this, you can do that too. Okay, so now I'm going to take my, I could cut that. I'm going to cut that in a little bit once I glue it on. Oops, and I'm hitting my phone again. Okay, let's see. So I'll just leave a little bit off there, and I'll glue with my Fabri-Tac, and I've lost the lid somehow. So it's coming out again. Too much. So I'm just going to smear it. Okay. Oops, and I think that'll be about right. Place that down. Like that. And then, I'm going to do it like the opposite way. So you're going to, do the same there and glue it. But just as an example, with the other patchwork that I have in the kit, you would just do this here, and then you would do here, and then I might trim that a little bit, but you're going to have your strip of snippet roll going across, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on, and then we'll put the spine piece on. All right, so this has been glued down, and then on the edge on this side I just took a ruffle, or you could gather a retro bed sheet, ribbon, whatever you want, and I just glued it along here, this edge, and then we can also add something here. Don't worry, it's going to look really pretty once we're done. So just, line up this here, and then glue that down, and then, like I did over here, and I'm just holding it in place so it stays glued, and then take your at least 18 inch, because it's, well, 9.5, so we'll do about double. What do I have here? I wouldn't do any less than 20 inches. So cut your spine fabric. And I'm going to put the cut edge at the top. And then I'll make sure I have enough to go up here. Okay. So now I'm not going to glue the inside yet. I'm just going to glue this part down right now. Okay, where did I put that little piece of cardboard to smush this down? We'll put some more on the sides. Let's just get this part done first. So we have that down, and then once it dries a little bit, I'll pick this up and glue under there too. You probably use hot glue too. I'll be putting some kind of trim over the top of this. And then for the inside, I promise you it's going to look better. This is why I like my glass mat, because you can just wipe off the glue and ink. Okay, then we have to decide what we're going to put on the inside, and I'm going to cut this on a little bit too. And you might want to just, I'll make it crease a little bit here too. Push that in a bit. And that's going to hold it securely. Okay, now in this pack that looked like this, I had some fabrics. This bed sheet. I think I'm going to use this. Now, if it's going to see through, it is. You can put, I don't have any, what is that stuff, that Pellon or, but I think what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to give it a coat of white paint so it won't see through, because the bed sheet is thin. And then I'm going to let this hang over a bit too to cut it. So I'm going to have this even with the lace on that side and lace on the other side, and just rip it. So that will be going here. I'm going to leave it a little long there too, so I'm not sure. And then we'll cut the top here. To, well, here we can always trim it up later. If you wanted to, instead of painting it, you could back it with another thin paper, white paper. You just don't want to see through it. I'll show you, like, what I mean is, I want it that way. You can see through. You can see so I can either paint it, or you could put white paper, or you could put another layer of white cloth. I think I'm going to just, I'll paint it a white color. Okay, I painted, but it didn't really cover very well. I used this tempera paint. Is that not right? I just used white paint. But it didn't really cover the Tyvek print, so I just cut a piece of copy paper, glued that over so you don't see it. And then we'll let that dry, and then the fabric will be applied over this. Now you can see some brown through there. I don't think it's, it's not going to be bad because I'm going to be putting a pocket on that side. I could put another piece of paper over this too. Just white copy paper, just so it's not brown. So I think I'll do that, and then I'm going to glue this piece over. All right, I just glued that paper on here so you don't really see through, just copy paper. And now we got our large fabric, and we can tear this smaller because we will on the bottom, because we're going to be bringing this up. So the bottom will be thinking maybe I will just cut it here. And this is 10. So if we can make this 10, which it is here, I'll just cut that to 10. There we go. And then we're gonna glue this. To here, and we will just put Fabri-Tac on and glue that a minute. Okay, I've got one side glued, and then you just want to kind of work this in here. And I'm glad I put that paper underneath because you don't have that showing through. Boy, I'm telling you, when you cut your glue bottle, I don't know how you'd make it any smaller, but it does come out quite a bit. I just take a piece of cardboard and like that. Kind of hard working around this little arm of the phone. Okay, we're going to need to let this dry, and then we'll be trimming it. All right, the next thing that I did was I just put some rickrack down here, and actually you're going to have your snippet roll over here. So I had cut 2 pieces. I don't know why, but I was trying to save on rickrack, but could have just used 1 piece. But you're going to put that over the edge here. You can use hot glue if you're good at it, or you can use your Fabri-Tac. Actually, I think this glue works pretty good on everything too. The art glitter glue, white glue. I like hot glue. I'll just kind of put that there. So like I said, you're going to have your snippet rule here. So we're just covering up this little edge here along this here. Our snippet rule will go here. We'll have to work on that. And then we need to cut here, and then we need to add a trim here. And I'm not sure what I'm going to use. So let me find something. Okay, I'm trying to make a decision because I'm going to be having my snippet roll across here. And then we're going to want our tie first here. So I was just playing with different ribbons. You could look right, and you don't want to be matchy-matchy. You want to bring in some colors, but and then I have this wide Rickrack too. So I think the first thing we're going to need to do is from our kit get the strip, and I believe it's in here. I got some long strips, and I think there's 2 of them. And what I had done, which I think I'll do differently this time, I did my snippet roll, glued that down, and then I put a safety pin and then fed it through underneath there. But that was pretty hard to do. So I think instead we're just going to take our tie, and this piece here I'm going to cut in half. I think I'll trim this edge off here too. We'll trim this. See if I can do it in a straighter line here. Where'd my wastebasket go? Oh, here it is. Okay, so the piece that I included in the kit, I think we'll just cut that in half. Okay, that didn't work. Oops, sorry. Okay. Let's take this about in half, and I'll see what the measurement is too for about the length. So we got 2 pieces like this, and the length is, what do we have, 12, about 24 inches or so, and it doesn't have to be that long. But now we are going to want to put this down here, and I'm going to fold it like this so it's not so much bulk. And where is our middle? Our middle with the cardboard. 10. So about the 5, which is kind of right about there by that seam. So about the 5-ish. And I'm going to just, you could sew it. I'm just going to hot glue it in here. And we're going to be covering this with our snippet.